International rugby works on 4-year cycles. The space between World Cups allows everything to be neatly broken down and categorised quad-annually. Sure, as human beings, we're raised with decimal minds and we naturally review by the decade, but in rugby, everything resets on the 4th year after the full-time whistle blows on the RWC final. Coaches change, players retire, and we head into a new run of things that only happen every 4 years, like Lions tours or Clive Woodward making an intelligent point. And so, as we stand 4 games away from the end of yet another cycle, I thought it through, and I feel reasonably confident in saying New Zealand's performance against Ireland on Saturday was the best I've seen by any rugby team in the last 4 years. This is not unearned hype or hyperbole. New Zealand were completely rampant against a team who, last time out, beat them, who shut Scotland down so convincingly, who last year won a Grand Slam. It was an intelligent, powerful, precise, and frankly just incredible performance by New Zealand. They may have slipped up a few times along the way in the lead up to this World Cup, but it's safe to say reports of the All Blacks' demise have been greatly exaggerated. So, with 2 more games standing between them and Webb Ellis Cup number 4, how did the All Blacks put together such a performance? What made it so impressive? How should Ireland feel in hindsight and England in prospect at facing a team capable of that? A few people put the distance of the scoreboard down to Ireland being off form or on an off day, but I think to even suggest that would be very unfair to the All Blacks. Ireland arrived with ideas and intensity, but just got lost in the black typhoon with which they were faced. Let's have a look at the first minute of the game to demonstrate this. Ireland are rewarded the scrum on the left-hand side of the pitch, and instantly, poor play, Schmidt has no doubt been holding back for this kind of occasion. Ireland, as anyone who's watched any of my videos over the last however long knows, do not play phases near the touchline. So, as such, Sevu Reece sees his job to defend as kind of only really nominal right now and just starts playing aeroplanes instead. Then, BAM! Conor Murray fires it out to Stockdale on that wing, but Stockdale then plays it back infield to his fly half, Jamboree Sex Queen. It's a kind of inverse of the move they scored off against the All Blacks last November, switching back infield rather than outfield. Because the scrum is on the left-hand side of the pitch, the side the scrum half puts the ball into, Aaron Smith is as occupied as a disabled toilet in a busy airport, and hence unable to put any pressure on Sexlog, meaning he has an uncanny amount of time to place the cross kick for Keith Earls to chase. However, Bridge reads it reasonably early and manages to get back to cover it before old Onion Face can get there himself. Ireland then later on almost broke through here via a very good burst by Best. And then again, here, some lovely hands almost create space, but Reece reads it, shoots in, and hits the Irish player so hard you think he's in a relationship with him. The All Blacks' defence was just smart. Ireland designed moves to put defence in 2 minds, and almost every single time, the said defender remained in their right mind. However, even more impressive was what the All Blacks did with the ball. Aaron Smith's try itself eventually just came down to the sneckiest bit of opportunism since he first asked that lady if she fancied coming to park opposite his house, just taking advantage of Henderson overfolding round the corner and a superb, if in the side, clear out by Brodie Retallick. However, the build-up play to get into this position is genuinely incredible. So, the All Blacks have a scrum about halfway. The following move is preordained. In general play, Ireland likes to defend very narrow. They stack the centre of the field with multiple defenders to smash you, to force you backwards to prevent you going forward. However, there is one time in which they cannot do this, and that's when half of their defenders are sucked into the scrum. So, the All Blacks swap Ardy Surveyor as their most explosive carrier into 8, and he picks and goes so quickly the Irish back row can't even look up, never mind break off and tackle him. He carries, and Kane clears, generating ball so quick Ireland is still getting into position and their main line not yet set. This whole play is just about getting Ireland on the back foot as fast as possible, with every Kiwi forward folding into a set position. There's no jostling or improvising. Carry 2 was always going to be by Kieran Reid, and then carry 3 was always going to be by either Taylor or Moody, with the other one there to clear out. And then, after 3 phases, they just shift the point of the attack. The ball goes wide and it's just simple hands down the line, but this moves the ball away from where Ireland are focusing their effort. Things are going so well that when we cut to a shot of Steve Hansen, he's almost smiling. This set was preordained, but the All Blacks' forward carries remained hugely effective the entire game because they were doing something incredibly smart, complicated, and frankly technical, but bear with me. I'm going to do my best to explain this to those of you who don't stare at rucks for a living and get obsessive about tiny details. So, most modern teams play a structure known as 1-3-3-1, which basically just means they lay their forwards out a bit like this. It's basically just a more dynamic way of the kind of pod structure you're probably used to, you probably spotted before. The idea being they can all pass to each other, they can interact, blah, 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 blah. Some teams instead favour a 2-4-2 structure, and during the Rugby Championship, the All Blacks pioneered a 1-3-4 structure as a kind of midpoint between those two. These are just means of organising your forwards, just where they stand in relation to each other. A means of trying to get the most out of them in order to generate quick ball, front football, and get your attack going. Different attacking structures have different pros and cons, and can be more and less effective against different types of defence. This year, New Zealand have shifted structure when they get into different parts of the field, using a far more standard 1-3-3-1 in their own and the opposition 22s, but changing this up when they're trying to launch an attack from around halfway. However, against Ireland, they went not just one better, but a whole 1,331 better. The All Blacks attack shifted formation on the fly. Most sides would use one of the two three-man groups to smash it up, whilst the other one waits as do the two ones out on the wings. Instead, we saw All Black groups split off and form new units whilst the ball was leaving the breakdown. Here, for example, the All Blacks are running a 2-4-2. Then, 30 odd seconds later, it's a 1-3-3-1. Barrett slots in as the aforementioned playmaker, and the entire group then run flat as genuine options, meaning Bodie just needs to pick the runner most likely to slide through the green line. He does that, Moody goes through, offloads. The ball goes into contact eventually. The All Blacks have then divided into what seems to be a 2-2-2-2 structure, or Desmond as I'm going to call it. Then, once the ball comes out again, they're back to a 1-3-3-1. Knowing now the ball is right by the line, they'll only need to make the last few yards. This changes almost everything about the attack and makes it very, very difficult for a defence to stop them generating quick ball, as they're changing the way in which they're trying to do it every single phase. As well as Barrett and Moang activating the carries, we also see Jack Goodhue floating around as a linkman, able to take offloads or get it from one pod to the next. As I say, it's all very technical, but it's enormously impressive. I have no idea how or what is prompting the All Blacks to shift structure so swiftly, but you can thank this uncanny ability for the win as much as you can any individual or collective performance. This is seemingly what the All Blacks have been holding back for the quarterfinals, and I genuinely don't know how any team can work out a way to stop it inside 2 weeks. Now, I have about, if I'm being generous, 2% of the rugby IQ of Jones, Erasmus or Gatland, but I can't think of a means to counter it that isn't built on just slowing down their ball so that you can match up and work out how they're setting. But we saw from the set-piece move that eventually led to the Smiths' first try that the All Blacks always find at least a few ways of generating that fast ball anyway. And this wasn't the only little nice shift in the All Blacks' performance from the previous weeks, with another one being how they used Bowden Barrett. Whereas in past he's pretty much played as a fly half who stands a bit further back in defence, on Saturday they began using him as a proper fullback in places, because as well as coming in as first receiver, he also picked lines from deep and entered the line late like a proper fullback does. This led directly to 2 tries, most directly from this great line and pass to his brother in the final play, but Smith's second saw him also pick a great dummy line, allowing the All Blacks to hide Sevu Reece like they have his domestic abuse record until he could take the ball and unleash George Bridge. Bridge then gets right up to the line, at which point Stockton makes an absolute howler of an error jumping off the line, and then spotting the line, Smith pounces so quickly you'd think Jacob asked him if he had a girlfriend. Frankly, I could go on about how good the All Blacks were on Saturday for the next 4 years. Ireland turned up to play and they brought an intensity to the game that shouldn't be underestimated. But when you go 17-0 down to a team pulling this kind of incredible shit, it's not hard to let your heads drop a bit. The All Blacks shut down a lot of what Ireland were trying to do, but the steady drip decay of confidence this kind of deconstruction causes dealt with the rest. It makes you wonder, what, if anything, can England and then either Wales or South Africa do to stop it? Because there's only one thought making me stop short of calling this the best performance of this World Cup cycle. And that is that the All Blacks now have 2 games to potentially get even better. Hey, so guess who wanted to put the video up first thing in the morning and then realised that he hadn't recorded one of these, so decided, well, it's more interesting to do it walking through here late at night, walking home. So he's doing that now. It's Richard Madeley, and also me. I'm doing that right now. That was the first quarterfinal out of the way. I'm going to move on to Wales-France next. That's going to be the next one we're doing. And then after that, we'll move on to the quarterfinal between South Africa and Japan, providing I don't get hit by this car.
Then once I take that one off, I'll see if I've got time to try and get through England against Australia. I most likely won't, so I'll probably move on to the semi-finals. However, I am still intending to get through every single game. However, some of them I may have to do after the World Cup. Some of them I may have to do once the whole thing's over and I can catch up on. So the remaining pool games, including Japan v Scotland, I'll do then, and I'll go through them afterwards. In the meantime, there's a big build up to those games, so I'll see you very soon. I'm trying to get through as much as possible as I can. So yeah, I'll see you. I've got no more to say really. I feel like I should have plenty more to say, yet I don't.